It's true. Hey, everybody.
The Comcast
GameHounds
guy's
here.
the main character of today.
The character of the show today is Comcast.
Yeah.
This is a show brought to you by Xfinity. Doesn't suck as much as you expect it to. Actually, that's not true. So Nick is in Florida, as you can see by his tag. This is the GameHounds. If you were just joining us for the first time, hi, how are you? We were about to talk about the ongoing saga of the internet at the boyfriend's house. It was interesting. Yeah, I have to be quiet here. So the boyfriend came very close to losing his life yesterday.
Did he electrocute himself? Was it a coyote situation?
That was so. After a very long time of me trying to get him to call Comcast, he finally called Comcast to have him come out here to check it, because I know it's a Comcast problem. Xfinity, let's be honest. So I'm in the car going down the street to pick up bagels yesterday while everybody else is home. He makes an appointment for today, Sunday, at 9 o'clock in the morning, between 9 and 11. That's the window. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I said, okay. I texted him back. I'm like, okay, so we're going to have to be up at 8:30 tomorrow morning. And his reply to me was, we? It was really good. It took me about 6 tries of replying through Siri, having Siri read it back, going, "Oh, I can't send that." It took about there's probably take 6 that I actually got a reply back to him.
The reply just should have been. It should have just been. He's like, we ? Your reply, we. Period.
Oh no. Tries 1 through 5 were definitely more verbose than that. So, we did wake up at 8:30 this morning.
Good. When did the actual Xfinity guy get there?
9:01.
Nice.
Yeah.
Usually it's a little iffy, but that's good.
Yeah, no, it's bright and early, first thing. So yeah, hi, how you doing, everybody? I hope everyone's good. Who's in the chat room right now? I see somebody's here. It's not me, but so Nick is in Florida. We have a hard stop today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Because Nick, he said, we could do this because he forgot the 3-hour time difference. And
I was like,
dinner.
2 o'clock. We can absolutely do 2 o'clock in the afternoon over here. That's perfect. From 2 to 5 right now, we were just sitting in the living room. Everyone's playing their phone. We're watching some football games. Yeah, we could absolutely stream. Forgot that there's a time difference.
Yeah, so it's actually 5.
Yeah, that's a little bit more inconvenient.
8. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, are you sure? But okay, hey, listen, if you say that this is what you do, cool. So anyway, we have a hard stop in an hour. So we're going to absolutely just blast through this right now. And in the spirit of actually putting the show up, because now that I have an extra couple of hours at the end of this show to actually post podcasts on Libsyn, we will be posting podcasts. So I am in the spirit of this being reposted. I'm actually going to do an intro. So let's do the intro.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 733. We are recording this on Sunday, October 27th, 2024, the last show of October. Next week, I guess,
Is
technically,
it? Oh yeah, it is.
calendar
Yeah.
this week is Halloween week. So,
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take this moment on a time-constrained podcast to go off on a completely different tangent.
you go, girl.
You did the intro, and
Yep.
my first thought was like, oh, I'm going to mouth along with it, right? To go along with the words. And I
Right.
also realized I don't remember any of them.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we actually run the intro.
No. So, flashback. Rachel likes country music, and so one time we're driving along, and she's got like a country playlist going, and this song comes on that I really liked. It was a White Horse by Chris Stapleton. And I was like, oh, I'm going to remember this song because I like it. So the next day at work, I put that song on and I put it on repeat. And I'm just like listening to it and just grooving on it while I work and type. Did that for, 7-8 hours.
You played a single song on repeat for 8 hours?
Like 7, maybe. Like it was just kind of background noise.
I could never do that.
Oh, it was great. I still like the song too. Didn't get overplayed. But I then got earlier today got a notice on my phone. I am in the top 1% of listeners of Chris Stapleton on YouTube, on YouTube Music. I listened to that one song so much. I am in the upper echelon of his listeners. And if you ask me, can you sing along with the song? Absolutely not.
That is impressive. He may actually know who you are by name because you were in the top 1% of people who have listened to that song.
Also, that's kind of sad for Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
If I can get in the top 1% with just 8 hours of
listening to it on repeat, that's a lot of times.
I've
How long is the song?
It's like 4 minutes. I don't know.
Okay, so let's do some quick math here. So if it is you listen to it, let's say 7 hours, right?
Yeah.
7, and I don't have a good way to calculate. 7 times 60, right?
Yeah.
That's 420 minutes divided by 4. You listen to it 105 times.
That's nothing.
That
is nothing. I have listened to plenty of other songs 100
Is that a thing? Because I could never. There's some songs that I am obsessed about. I could never listen to them. It would destroy the song for me. 105 times on repeat.
There's a lot of times when especially when I'm working, if I get a good song that I'm like, oh, this feels good to work to. Just put it on repeat and just let it run.
Yeah, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I can maybe listen to. There's one song that I listened to many, 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 many times because it was very fast lyrics, and I kind of put it to myself, I am going to learn these lyrics. I'm gonna learn these lyrics, and it was hard because there was a section of them that were very, very fast. So I had to repeat that section over and over again. I'm gonna get this while I'm driving in traffic. I am going to get this.
AC Wraith has a good point. Maybe it's a period-based rating, like top 1% of the week.
Possible.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
I would hope that I'm not top 1% lifetime listeners. But I also remember long, long ago when little kid Nick got I think my dad got a CD for Christmas, and there was one song on that album that I really liked. And so for all of Christmas morning, I put it in the CD player and just played that one song over and over again until my dad came over and was like, Nick, please stop it. Please stop.
It's Baby Shark. It's officially become Baby Shark.
So yes.
By the way,
is something I have done forever.
And Baby Shark, do not watch the final season, although it is fantastic. The final season of the Umbrella.
Oh, I don't want to. I kind of lost interest in that show.
What's the name of it? Academy. Thank you. Umbrella Academy.
Kind of lost interest in it. It got a got a little repetitive.
It's actually the last season is a good wrap up. It's actually really, 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 really good. And a minivan with the Baby Shark CD stuck in a fucked up old minivan with Baby Shark stuck in the like the player, and they can't turn it off. Features prominently, and it's pretty funny.
Okay. I like that idea.
So, all right, so
So, yeah.
let's actually talk games and let's actually talk news because we have quite a bit of it, and we are now down to our last like
Yeah.
40 minutes of the show, or
Hey,
38 minutes.
AC Wraith said, I miss my old mp3.com station, Fool's Turlin. I listened constantly, reached high levels on the charts, and got what I thought was a decent number of musicians requesting to be listened. Oh, wow. So that means you managed that station?
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
kind of
That's
cool.
like early internet stuff. We're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
anyone can manage a station on mp3.com. That's
right.
cool.
So, all right, let's talk
Okay.
games. What games have you played? By the way, I got Black Myth Wukong. I
Okay.
started
I
playing
want
it.
to hear about that. I'll just
No,
say
no, no.
really
I
quickly.
played like a half hour of it. I mean, I'm not even
Okay.
really past
Okay.
the tutorial at this point, but I did buy it and I did pick it up.
Um, I spent most of the 5 hour flight here playing Unicorn Overlord on my Odin.
Mhm.
All I'll say is that some of those fights go quick. Some of those fights take 3 hours.
Oh,
And
really?
holy shit, that was like one battle that I did. And by the end of it, I was just like, oh fuck, that was an epic slog of a fight. Like we are talking down in the mud, knights fighting each other. It's as gritty as it can get. Um,
Mhm.
Other than that, before I left, I played more Metaphor, and oh my god, I didn't realize, and you'll have to tell me because you played Persona 5, right?
Yeah.
Are the dungeons usually so long that you cannot beat them in one sitting?
Yes.
Okay. Because like the way the game is set up, kind of like Persona, you have days. And if you choose to spend one of those days doing the story dungeon or any dungeon, like that takes the time out of your day. But the way it works is you kind of go up and get checkpoints. So as you explore the dungeon, you unlock rooms farther on. And so when you get to the end of your limit, you can teleport back to the beginning, go back home and rest, and then the next day you come and do the dungeon again, but you get to teleport back up to where you were.
Right.
Over the course of 3 nights, not like in-game days, like actual days, I was playing this dungeon and I was kind of getting angrier and angrier, just like, motherfucker, this dungeon is taking so long. And it's really frustrating me because I want it to be done.
Mhm.
But then I kind of came to a revelation that completely changed how I thought about it. This this is the exact structure of Dark Souls. This is a Souls-like game. You go into a dungeon and you kind of make incremental progress until you get to a bonfire, and then you can reset, and
Right.
then you continue from there, and you keep going until you reset and it's like, oh my god, Dark Souls was just a Shin Megami Tensei time-based thing, but made a bit more actiony in real time.
Mhm.
So yeah, Metaphor and Persona are the Dark Souls of RPGs, like quite literally.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is very much a thing. In fact, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you can see on the screen this is a playthrough for the entire game, and you can see the actual runtime.
I don't see the runtime.
Let's see, let me go over it. Okay, now you can see it.
That was
2
that
days, 4 hours, 10 minutes for this entire recording. This recording is 2 days long.
okay? See, that's actually good to hear because that means it's only 48 hours long.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a game twice that. And honestly, the way that I play it, it will
Right,
probably
right,
be
but this is
twice that.
somebody just as you can see, slamming through it. There's
Yeah.
no yeah.
Yeah. And yes, AC Wraith, I needed a metaphor to explain metaphor.
Um, So yeah. That's very much in the oeuvre of Atlas Games and of Persona. That I can't tell you how many times it's like I just need to get through this dungeon, and then I can go to sleep. And then you realize, no, you're not gonna get through this. You're just gonna have to park yourself somewhere safe and then or get to a point where you can get out and then go
Yeah.
back.
It's like, oh my god, it's 3:15 in the morning. I'm not gonna beat this boss. I just need to find a checkpoint so that I
Checkpoint.
can stop and save.
Right. Exactly.
But once I kind of got that into my head of like, okay, this is meant to make incremental progress. This is meant to be like a deeply
Mhm.
challenging thing. I was like,
Right.
okay. And then I started to enjoy it more and like enjoy the just the challenge and the length of it. So instead of being angry at how long it was, I was like, okay, I get that this is supposed to feel grand and epic.
Right. So, what else, did you play?
That's it. That's all I
Alright.
played.
Well, then let's hit, and because we're moving fast, let's hit the news.
That one I remember.
This is Gamehouse News, the news you need to carry the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick Danicola. All right, first item is, since I'm running the show and Nick is remote, it is up to me, and I am absolutely doing the things that I want to do. All right, trying to decide which one to do. All right, let's go for the short form and then end on the long form, so that way we hit everything. All right, even though
Okay.
the long form is the above the lead. The above the lead is Black Ops 6 is out, and the gamble,
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, and the gamble that that is Game Pass and day one release for it. But that we're gonna have to put aside since we are short of time. I want to make sure we get everything. All right, first things first. Netflix this week closed a studio before that studio ever even had the chance to release a game. And this was not like a little small inconsequential studio. So,
I think the size of the studio is why it was closed down.
yeah. So this was a studio, Netflix had, did assemble a handful of studios, internal studios that over the last few years to develop games for Netflix. And this particular studio was known as Blue. And they hired some pretty big names for this. So back in spring of 2023, they announced that that Chaco Sonny was hired as to run the whole studio. Now he is a former executive producer of Overwatch. Shortly after that, they hired Joseph Staten, was the longtime creative lead on Halo's franchise for Microsoft, and he was at Bungie and 343 Industries. At the time, Staten said this was back in spring of 2023. He said that he was leaving to join Netflix to work, quote, as creative director for a brand new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. So we got some idea of what Blue was planning to do.
Yeah, Netflix wanted to be a big player. It wanted to put out something like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. They're
Right,
EA. They
exactly.
wanted to be a big player.
They also recruited Raphael Grassetti, who is as an art director. He had more than a decade, as far as I believe, of experience at Sony Santa Monica. And the last thing he worked on there was the God of War. He was the overall art director for God of War. So these are some pretty heavy hitters that they hired. As of this week, it was announced, it was discovered by I forgot the name of the outlet that broke the news. GameFile was the outlet that broke the news. Netflix had reportedly shut down, it's known as Team Blue. They shut down Team Blue, and all of those three big hires, Chaco, Staten and
Mm.
Rossetti were all gone. So yeah, I mean, it says a lot about how Netflix thought things were going to go and then realized that, well, what happened is that back in 2023, everybody was kind of rolling in cash, especially Netflix, in the wake of these massive profits that they had from the pandemic in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And for some crazy reason, all those things dried up. And
I mean,
so
I
I
think like
know, crazy, huh? That a pandemic money would all dry up.
I don't think that's just what this is. I think because Netflix's approach to video games has actually been, I think, pretty smart. The way that they, you know, buy some smaller games. They bought the studio that Oxenfree 2, and they put that out on the platform. Like their game selection has some real good bangers. It's got like Into the Breach. It's got Hades.
Right,
Curse of the
right,
Golden Idol, right
right,
next to Too Hot to Handle 2, right next to an Emily in Paris visual novel. Like
right.
they understand
Which
that
I
these
simply don't understand because Emily in Paris is
no,
terrible.
oh, it's a cute, fun show.
No,
I
it's
enjoy it.
awful. It is awful.
Whatever. Anyways, their approach makes sense because they know this is like a value added element. Like no one's going to come to Netflix for the games, but if you can offer them as like bonus
Right,
things, especially, and they understand it enough to like, here's the cheapo stuff that honestly most people are going to play, and here's the quality stuff that's like, oh look, we know what we're doing.
right.
But all of that mobile focused gaming is way easier to do than making a AAA game. And I
Yeah,
what Netflix did, they got into it. They're like, we've got the money, we're gonna have the star power, let's do this. And like 2 years later, they're like, wait,
this costs a lot of money. This is
you're
hard
gonna
to do, and it's going to take years.
exactly. You're telling us this is you've been at this for 2 years and you're gonna need how much longer? How much more money? Like, fuck no. We're not doing
You'd
that.
think a company as big as Netflix would actually hire someone to talk to who knows about game development to give them an idea of how much it costs and how long it takes to make a AAA IP.
All
They
that someone
obviously
told
were
them,
listening to
they just didn't
somebody
believe them.
who wanted it to happen and was giving them rosy numbers. Or either that, they were trusting that they had the money and the time to be able to go forward. And then when profits started to flag a little bit, they realized they don't have the deep pockets they thought they had
Except
because,
I don't think
fun
that's the
fact,
case.
pandemic ended.
Yeah, but like their latest earnings were good. The latest earnings were like, oh, actually, you're doing better than expected. Like
Right.
they passed. So I don't think it's a money issue. I think it's a commitment issue.
Possibly, possibly. But even so, you'd think that they would have checked that out before they went and started a studio. So, so yeah, that's gone and that's over. Next item is
So what else has gotten over?
what do you mean?
The Prince of Persia.
Oh, let's talk about Prince of Persia. Okay, so did I not save that banner? No, I've got to. Oh, there we. Prince of Persia, Lost Crown. The dev team, and this is obviously Ubisoft. The dev team for that has been disbanded, reportedly,
Yeah,
and
and
there's
I
a
guess
lot of stories connected to this.
And I guess to their credit, they didn't fire everyone. They just moved everyone to other projects.
Right.
But it's still sad that, this game, it didn't hit for me, but it hit for a lot of other people. It got pretty good reviews, but it just didn't sell enough. And
Yep.
like now, if you don't have a hit thing your first time out, you don't get a chance for a sequel. You don't
Yep.
get a chance to improve upon your idea.
And speaking, well, that makes absolute sense.
Because like the first Assassin's
That
Creed
worked
sucked.
10
The
years
first
ago.
Uncharted was okay, but like Uncharted 2, Assassin's Creed 2, those are what launched those franchises. It was always the second game in the series.
Right. And it's actually interesting that you bring that up because I hate let's dovetail into a tangent of another story that is related to that, which I never expected that this would be the tangent in between the two stories that are actually related to each other. A former Skyrim developer said with a straight face that Starfield 2 will be a great game. This was in an interview with Video
It's
Gamer magazine.
possible. I believe it could happen.
But he said exactly what you just said. So it was the designer for Skyrim, Bruce Nesmith. He was talking about a hypothetical Starfield 2, and he made the point that Skyrim was so good because it had Oblivion before it. And because before that they had Morrowind. So his quote was, quote, when we built Skyrim, we had a tremendous advantage of Oblivion, which had tremendous advantage of Morrowind. All that stuff was there for us. All we had to do was continue to improve and add new stuff in. We didn't have to start from the ground up. We had to start from the if we had to start from the ground up, that would have been another 2 or 3 years of development time. And then of course, he added it. I'm looking forward to Starfield 2. I think it's going to be one hell of a game because it's going to address a lot of the things people are saying.
That's a fair sentiment, I think.
Yeah. And it says, we were missing. It will be able to take what's in there now and put a lot of new stuff and fix those problems. And he pointed to things like Dragon Age, that the Dragon Age, although he says Dragon Age 1,
I mean,
right,
Dragon Age 1 was the best one.
Origins was the best one, but
Mass Effect 2 is a classic.
And he said Assassin's Creed is another example of having something to iterate and build upon and add to. So, and that's the thing that isn't happening in the industry anymore, is that putting out a game that is like, it's a good start, but it just needs one more iteration, one more game to come out to kind of fix all the stuff and tweak it a little and add some stuff and take some stuff out and streamline it to turn it into something like Skyrim, where it's like, oh my God, that's the greatest game ever made.
Yeah, like there's a lot of games that come out that are not bad, they're just okay. And
right.
like given a chance to improve on it,
another generation
could have made for a banger of a game.
Exactly. So you just said the same thing, is that with the Prince of Persia, is that it's not, it was good. It wasn't great. But Prince of Persia 2 might have been great, but we'll never know because, of course, that whole development team was disbanded and moved off onto other projects.
Ironically, one of those projects was a game that will never be good. It will not be good. This will be the exception to the rule. What is it? The
outlier?
The outlier that proves the rule, right?
Nope,
Usually
it's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait.
This
it's
is
not dead. It's not dead. It's alive. So
it is
here's
a zombie. It is a zombie of a game.
It is.
The fact that Ubisoft is still like they're struggling so much. They've gone through so many issues. And they're still like,
this is what they do. This says something about Beyond Good and Evil, is that whenever things get bad, they haul this out to just make people get a little bit enthusiastic because they know everybody's enthusiastic about it. Okay, so this is according to a report from Kotaku.
Hang on, I will say, to be fair, Beyond Good and Evil 2 might honestly be like the one IP they have that actually gets people excited because they kind of run Assassin's Creed into the ground. They kind of ran Far Cry into the ground. Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon.
This is the one thing that's going to make everybody go, yay. Nope, nothing else they have is going to make people go, yay.
It's the one thing they haven't done like 5 games in the last
that they haven't screwed up, essentially. So this comes out of Kotaku. That this report suggests that because the team was disbanded from Prince of Persia and those devs were sitting there around doing nothing else, instead of firing them, they just moved them around the company. And one of the places that they moved it to was Beyond Good and Evil 2, which, according to this report, recently passed an internal milestone at the company. and the higher ups were actually pleased with the game's progress, which is like a like breaking news. There's actually progress in the game. Who knew? So it actually is being worked on. It passed an internal milestone, and they're moving more people onto it because they're like, hey, this looks pretty good. So the sources that were speaking to Kotaku said that the team that the higher ups finally feel like, quote, the game has found its footing after years of turbulent development.
Well, that's good. It's
Um,
about
and,
time.
and it's, if you think about it, I mean, first off, they didn't really commit to it because people at Ubisoft didn't want to make it.
Yeah, well, they didn't even start making it until like a decade after the first game came out.
Right, exactly. It has survived intense staff turnover due to, shenanigans within the company. It survived so far the death of its creative director, Emile Morel, senior staff departures, the whole toxicity of the company, all of that. So, and to give you an idea of what we're talking about, the original reveal of this game, which was more than a decade after the first game came out, was back in 2008. We are getting perilously close to 2 decades waiting for this game to come out. So, we'll see about how it's going, but it does give me some kind of hope that this game has now been sort of fast-tracked because this is the Hail Mary throw. And if Ubisoft ever needed a Hail Mary, now is the time. They're in so much trouble. Their stock is tanking. There's talks about Tencent acquiring the company because the stocks are dropping so fast. It's becoming actually cheap enough to pick it up as a whole company for something like Tencent. There's a lot of reasons why they need a W. And this might be the moment that they're like, okay, we have done everything we possibly can and fucked it all up. The one thing we haven't fucked up is Beyond Good and Evil 2. So let's give it a shot.
And we haven't fucked it up because we haven't touched it.
We haven't touched it. Right.
But you know what you're going to do?
It's
We're
been
going to
sitting
touch
in
it.
We're going to
We're gonna-
touch it. We're going to put our grubby fingers all over it. Talk about toxicity. Oh, we're going to touch the hell out of this thing. Yeah, no, it's going to be. I'm excited. If
No,
only
you don't want Eve
because-
Guillemot touching anything.
I don't want anybody at Ubisoft touching anything that I like. But in this case, it does give me this is much more believable that something is happening than any of the reports it's not dead previous, that they've actually closed development on a game and actually moved people over. And it
Yeah.
makes sense that they would be doing it because, like you said, it is the one property that they have that would get people interested, that would make news, and that people that they haven't like done to death where people are being like, we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited about this because even if it sucks, just to have it come out, God, just to have it come out, it would be like, at this point, it doesn't even have to be good. It just has to be real.
It just has to come out. It's like Duke Nukem Forever, Skull and Bones. What is it? Not Okami 3, Shenmue 3.
Mm-hmm.
That eventually came out. Not Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian.
Last Guardian.
That was actually probably the best of that group, though.
Right. And this is just I just need this monkey off my back. Pun intended. I need this monkey off my back. I need to know that
No, you need him on your back.
in
You want that
my
monkey on your
lifetime
back.
possibly might see Beyond Good and Evil 2 actually release. And when it does, I'm going to celebrate, bad, good, or indifferent, how that game turns out. I'm going to celebrate it.
You are buying that $120 special edition.
Abso-fucking-lutely. I will absolutely buy that 100. But incidentally, I got the notification that my $120 version of the Dragon Age.
Veilguard.
Yeah, Veilguard, $120 version of Veilguard has been shipped.
Both of them? Did you still get two, or did you cancel one?
No, I still got it. We'll see how that works out. Looks
mean-
like that might be your Christmas present.
I mean, honestly, I'm not planning to buy it. I'm waiting for you to tell me how it is.
I think the plastic tat looks really cool. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, so moving right along. In things that in release date news, Warframe 2's release date has been, not the release month has been confirmed, and it is painfully obvious since they said it was releasing in 2024. They've confirmed that it's releasing in December.
I didn't even know that they had announced a Warframe 2.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not really Warframe 2. It's called Warframe 1999. It's really, the next iteration. So yeah, Digital Extremes revealed Warframe 1999 last year. They said it was going to be releasing in 2024. They've said that for a while now. Didn't have a precise release date. And there still isn't a 100% precise release date. But given that we're like heading into November, they have confirmed that it is going to be in December. Big surprise. So there is a demo that is already out right now if you want to give it a shot, but it's going to apparently launch on all platforms. This is according to their release, your press release quote, our biggest update of the 20th century arrives this December when Warframe 1999 launches on all platforms. They did also note that you should, if you are looking to jump in on this ASAP, because I know there's more than one Tenno out there in the GameHounds fandom.
I think there's just one.
Yeah, they're pretty much his only one. But he's one really big fan.
But he's a favorite.
Yeah, he is. Anyway, they did say that you do want to make sure your account is ready and up to date to, quote, ensure that you'll be able to jump straight into the action on launch day. They didn't
Also,
specify again what that launch day would be, but if you want to be ready for it when it finally comes, you definitely want to update your account and make sure that it's, all good.
AC Wraith also wanted us to point out that the demo for 1999 is inside Warframe. So you have to launch Warframe to get to the demo of the next Warframe.
Yeah, I said the demo is inside the game, as is all of Warframe. Correct your Warframe slander. What did
Yeah,
I say?
I guess it's not a sequel. It's just like a big update.
A big update.
Right?
All right. There is the RE is no next Warframe. Oh, the guy.
I guess the next Warframe would be Soulframe, their fantasy game.
It is not Warframe 2. Fine. I will change the banner. Warframe 1999. Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. 1999. There we go. Safe. Is that better?
Yeah. I know Soulframe is different.
Yeah.
But that's like the closest thing to a sequel.
Right. So, good news. Even though I did slander Warframe. All right. So next item is
We can do a fast one, or I'm running out of time, so we could get to COD blobs.
Yeah, let's go to COD blocks. And we could save the other two for next week.
Yeah.
Because they're not, time sensitive.
I think I only have. Oh yeah, the other two. Yeah.
So, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is out in the wild. It released on the 25th, and which was what, Friday? Amid the biggest World Series in history.
Andrew, Creation Chaos is in the chat, says, I heard Edie was slandering Warframe, so I had to show up. It's like a Candyman or Bloody Mary. You say
If you say
Warframe.
All of the Tennos start showing up in the chat going, what the you need to shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, do your own damn podcast. Chaos. Anyway, yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out amid World Series, probably the most watched World Series in recent history, if not ever. But it is out in the wild, and as promised, it was on GamePass day one,
Game Pass
upon
Ultimate
release.
specifically.
Game Pass Ultimate, which of course is their most expensive. So this is the moment of truth. I'm kind of put this out there because this is the moment that will define whether Phil Spencer is going to be the father of the modern Xbox or is going to lose his job and essentially die an ignominious professional death along the
I
lines of, John Riccatello.
I think it helps that this is like one of the best reviewed Call of Duties in the past several years. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this is like if you're going to try something new, this is the best thing to launch with it because it's getting such good reviews. Like, and when you think about Xbox's output, they had Redfall, which no one really jumped on. They had Senua's Sacrifice, which was good by all means, but didn't really set the world on fire. And they kind of had all of these, single hits, to use the World Series metaphor. Like they hit a bunch of singles, and you can't build the Game Pass off of singles.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if this had been a mediocre Call of Duty, if this had been like a double, I think that the narrative would have just continued. But the
Right.
fact that the game is as good as it is, that it's reviewing as well as it is, that I'm actually looking forward to getting back home so that I can play through the campaign, because I've read that the campaign is actually really fun, really exciting. That this is the best case scenario that they could have had.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it will be very interesting to see how much it moves the needle, because this is the best case scenario they could have had.
Right. Yeah. So Michael Pachter from Wedbush Morgan, the head guy, and has been for the last 20 years or so. And guy does know the market. He has put Black Ops 6, or he has said putting Black Ops 6 onto Game Pass he expects it to result in up to 6 million lost sales. Not $6 million, but 6 million sales, 6 million units of sales. That is based on the idea that 25% of Game Pass subscribers might have bought the game instead of, renting the game for free. Well, not for free, for the
So
subscription.
that comes out to about $420 million.
Right, right. And he also says that the Black Ops 6 being on Game Pass he expects it to boost subscriber numbers to Game Pass to between 2.5 million and 4 million. So you're going to lose more sales than you are going to gain subscribers. But the question is, how long are those subscribers going to stay with Game Pass? Or are they going to get rid of it? Or, it's like if the vast majority of those subscribers don't overpay the price of the sale of that unit, meaning that I end up spending ultimately $150 on Game Pass that I wouldn't have normally spent instead of buying it for $80 or $70. That's what they will need to do in order to make this be successful.
Yeah. So
Because
quick math.
if it's a wash, then that they need it to not be a wash, because remember, a wash would normally be fine, but they spent $69 billion to acquire Activision Blizzard and get this game.
Yeah. The quick math is that the best case scenario, 4 million new subscribers to Game Pass Ultimate would get them $100 million. So
Right.
if all those subscribers stay subscribed for 4 months or like a little bit longer, then they will have covered the cost of
Broken even.
buying
That's
new.
break even.
Yeah.
They can't break even. Break even, and that's not assuming that all 4 million of them stay subscribed.
Yeah. Which like is not necessarily outside the realm of possibility, because it's a live service game. It'll constantly be updated.
Right.
And like once you're in the
And
Game
there's
Pass
also the
ecosystem, It's like, well, what else is here? What am I going to try? And you go on to the next game, and it just kind of keeps you going.
Yep, and there's all the cosmetic packs. Let's not forget the not inconsequential amount that is made by battle passes. I mean, this is a very battle pass heavy game.
Oh yeah, you got to buy. You'll probably have to buy the battle pass too. That's like an extra cost on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. So this is uh, everybody is watching this because this is, mark my word, this is the make or break moment for streaming. If this doesn't work, Microsoft is going to abandon the idea of being the Netflix of gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Chaos says even with the fall off, the players are in it for the yearly cycle. So even if you manage to keep half of those, you'll make a profit eventually.
Right, right.
And yeah, that's the goal. That retention is the key to everything.
Retention. And there also is, kind of like some wiggle room that someone might get the Game Pass for a couple of months and then they turn around and buy the game because it's cheaper for me to buy the game than to actually have the Game Pass. Or they might reduce the amount, not go to premium, buy the game, drop down from premium to something lower tier that was less expensive just because Game Pass is kind of nice. I'm going to keep it. So it's all coming down to everybody's watching. Nobody knows how this is going to work. It is either going to be a wild success or a wild failure
Yeah, I
because
think
breaking
Chaos. Oh,
even
yeah.
is a failure.
The Chaos
Doing
asked.
okay is a failure. It needs to make a lot of fucking money. $69 billion worth of money.
I mean, it doesn't need to do that
Not
much
all that.
because
You know what I mean? That
they've
that
got
makes
all
the
the other
gamble
Activision
spending
stuff.
$69 billion on a company to make this happen. It's got to make it look like, okay, like maybe we'll get our money back one day on this.
There's been, when Xbox releases their quarterly financials, you want to see the Microsoft, the Xbox division, not only in the black because of Activision. You want to see like their services and stuff
Right.
better.
And then not only in the black because they fired a vast majority of their developers, which is that's how they balanced the book the last time, is they just fired people and reduced their costs.
Chaos has a question. He says, "Do you think if they released the Game Pass on Steam and PlayStation, that it would be a good business decision? It would kill the Xbox console, but I wonder how much money they would
Where are you
make."
seeing that? I don't see that question. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's back a little bit. I think they would never do it because if Microsoft is doing that, Microsoft doesn't need to do that. Anyone can do that. Sony already has their version of this. If Microsoft stops Game Pass, that just makes Sony's Game Pass version like
Right.
better.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they would ever do this, and especially because like once you do that, then it gets into like a weird money territory where if Microsoft gives me $5 million to put my game on Game Pass, and then because it's on Game Pass, it goes to PlayStation. If so, I buy it on PlayStation, is 30% going to Sony? 30% is going to go to Microsoft, and then 30% like, am I now losing 60%?
How comes that weird?
I don't think they would ever do Game Pass on another platform. Like
Right.
if they do Game Pass, it will be on Apple. It'll be on Android.
Yeah.
That's what it will be on. It's not going to
Yep.
be on a rival console.
But Apple would never do it. Apple would make a deal with Sony.
No. Like thanks to Europe, Apple has to crack open their ecosystems. They're doing it with Android.
But they'll crack open their ecosystem to Sony. They will not crack open their ecosystem to Microsoft.
Why?
Because it's Microsoft. They're Apple. They're the enemy.
I think they would do that. Honestly, Sony would never put their Game Pass thing on Apple because they don't care about that. They're more console focused. Microsoft is the one actually kind of thinking outside the box in weird ways.
They might. I mean, that would be a really, really weird matching to get Microsoft Game Pass on an Apple. Because remember, we're still waiting for this mythical Apple TV that
They
hasn't
have Apple
happened yet.
TV. Actually, Apple
No,
TV is
no,
probably the best streaming
The Apple
service.
television, not Apple TV, the
Oh,
Apple television that we're
yeah.
waiting for.
I need to wrap up. I need to
Yes.
go.
All right.
You can keep talking all you
No, no,
want.
no, no, no. We're done. I think that watch this space. We're going to know in a real short period of time of whether Phil Spencer has lost his job, and that's going to happen. We're going to know within the first month of this happening because it's going to be instant.
Okay, wait.
This is Call of
He's
Duty.
saying if that PlayStation Game Pass isn't great, and yes, the 30% would go to Sony or Steam. The thing is, if they charge $26 instead of 20 on Xbox and PC, they could make that back. I think people would still buy it. I would buy the pass if I could play the games on Steam. I mean,
Yeah,
they have it on PC. Like, does it need to
right.
be
It's on.
included in the
It's
Steam
on.
ecosystem? It's on
No.
Steam. It's on PC already.
Yeah, it's not only on PC, it's on Microsoft Game Pass
But
on
okay.
PC.
Join us later, sometime next week, when we do a Phasmophobia stream, and Creation Chaos will absolutely be involved in that stream, and we can talk about all this while we're ghost hunting.
Yeah, yeah. Incidentally, thank you. I did receive Nick got me my early birthday present. He got me the Xbox, like streaming package that's the Fire TV and the Xbox controller. So I have it at the house, the house here. I am going to plug it in now to see how it works, and I will report
Cool.
back. All right.
I look forward to hearing about that.
All right. So you can leave now. I'm going to close out because I know you got to go do dinner.
I know. I wish Chaos is here, and I wish we could stop and talk
Oh,
more. But
God,
unfortunately,
yes.
I'm on a very strict time limit.
Yes. All right. So go ahead, Nick. See you later. I will close out the show.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds episode 733. We did record this on Sunday.
Leave studio.
At the bottom where it says leave studio. There you go. We did record this on Sunday, October 27th, 2023. I've been your host, Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. On Facebook, we are the GameHounds, or facebook.com/GameHounds. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, all one word, VIDS. And on Twitch, we are the GameHounds. If you have watched us in any of those iterations, please like, thumbs up, subscribe, do all of the buttons. It really, really, really does help a lot to get this show out to more people. Incidentally, speaking of getting this show out to more people, which I will be doing as soon as I get off here, because I actually have a couple of spare hours of my life now back from Nick, I am going to be uploading this show and previous shows onto iTunes. If you want to find us on iTunes, we are under GameHounds Podcast, and we do record those as a audio podcast, and you can join us there anytime. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. We will talk to you next week. And like I said, there's Phantasmophobia coming out. Phantasmophobia coming out, and it's going to be cross-platform, and we're totally doing that. And yeah, you're going to hear a lot of screaming from me. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.